Hebrews. Meet me at the this is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Israelite Advanced Bible Study Night, the 9th of July, 2024. Okay, we'll be dealing with Gog and Magog, the Battle of Armageddon, a breakdown of it. Okay, you can go to our YouTube channel, the Prophets of Awakening, and check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos with lots of wealth of information on it. You want to, check it out, and I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. Okay, like I said, our hours of operation are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is from 7 to 9 Central Time, and then we come back on Friday night with our Men's Advanced Bible Study night, but it's on Clubhouse, and the Clubhouse room is Non-Messianic Conversations, and that's also 7 to 9. Then we have 2 Shabbat classes, one in the morning on Saturdays, just from 10 to 12 Central Time. Then we close out the Shabbat in the evening from 6 to 7, normally about an hour. That's Central Time. Okay. This is a non-Messianic channel for those that don't know. And by that, I mean we deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh is the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that were given to Moses by our Savior and our Redeemer, the Lord of Hosts. Okay, and we don't subscribe to Jesus the Christ or the apostles, Paul, none of that. Shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our Israelite Advanced Bible Study. Okay, we're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, a prayer. We're going to read the Psalms. We have some current events, a little need to know information. And then we open it up for some Q&A. And then we go into our topic, which is Gog and Magog, the Battle of Armageddon. Okay. Oh Lord, I pray unto the Lord my God. We make our confessions, O Lord, the great and dreadful God, keeping covenant and mercy to them that love thee and to them that keep thy commandments. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us a confusion of face as is this day, to the men of Judah, to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whither thou hast driven us, because of our trespass that we have trespassed against thee. O Lord, hear this prayer, cause thy face to shine upon thy sanctuary and thy people, for your sake. O Lord, open thine eyes and incline your ears to hear, and behold our condition. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, hearken and do, and defer not for thy own sake. For we need you so very much at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay, so with that being said, you read a song. Yeah, I'll read Psalms 65. It's a Psalm of David. It's God's power in nature. Praise waiteth for thee, O God, in Zion, and unto thee shall the vow be performed. O thou that heareth prayer, unto thee shall all flesh come. Iniquities prevail against me. As for our transgressions, thou shalt purge them away. Blessed is the man whom thou choosest, and causeth to approach unto thee, that he may dwell in the courts. We shall be satisfied with the goodness of thy house, even of thy holy temple. Thy terrible things in righteousness without answer us. O God of our salvation, O God of our salvation, who art the confidence of all the ends of the earth.
and of them that are far off upon the sea, which by his strength setteth fast the mountains, being girded with water, with power, which stilleth the noise of the seas, the noise of their waves, and the tumult of the people. They also that dwell in the uttermost parts are afraid of thy tokens. Thou makest the outgoings of the morning and the evening to rejoice. Thou visitest the earth and watereth it. Thou greatly enrichest it with the river of God, which is full of water. Thou preparest them corn when thou hast so provided for it. Thou waterest the ridges thereof abundantly, and thou settlest the furrows thereof, that maketh it soft with showers. Thou blessest the springing thereof. Thou crownest the year with thy goodness, and thy paths drop fatness. They drop upon the pastures of the wilderness, and the little hills rejoice on every side. The pastures are clothed with flocks. The valleys also are covered over with corn, and they shout for joy. They also sing. So we see right here. I was telling you how that all these pagan cultures that rose and fell, and even to the day, these people they have, like I was saying, the Israelites, and before the flood, Adam's descendants. These men, the only ones dealing with these angels. With the heathen, the Gentiles, they're not dealing with the angels. So, and because of that, they come up with all these whacked out religions and whacked out beliefs because of that very fact. So they believe, like they got Zeus, the thunder god, all these gods. You notice most of them deal with nature, right? But we see right here where it's coming from because that's what the Lord of hosts do. If you go to Psalm 65, I just read, and go uh, start at verse 9. It says, "Thou visitest the earth," right? For what? And watereth it, right? So we know about how the rain works. You got the sun and the moon, but you got when it clouds get full of water because of the sun is drawing it up in the clouds. Then when it get full of water, it rains. It's just a circle, go back around a circle, circle back around. It's called condensation and evaporation. But it's a system that the law created set in place. So it says he visited the earth and waters it. So when it's raining, that's when one of the ways he visits the earth. Thou greatly enrich it with the river of God. So what's the river of God? In the creation story, when you go back to the creation story, he says that he divided the water that was on the earth, and then he added the rest of it. He put it up in the sky. So what are you talking about? Vapors. Vapors. Water is in vapor form, just as well as it's in water form. It's in ice, in a snow. So uh, when you got rivers on the earth, like we got the Nile River, the four rivers in the Garden of Eden. You got the Ethiopian River, all these different rivers. Well, the same way it is in heaven, but the rivers that's up in heaven, they in vapor form, and that's what's falling to the earth. When the sun draw it back up from the heat, it's in vapor form. There's rivers up there, but they're in vapor form. And when it's time for him to water the earth, which is when he's talking about the former rain and the latter rain, that's what he's talking about. And so, what is that? The crops and everything that grows, that sparks out of the ground. The former rain comes and causes it to sprout and grow. And then once it grows and the fruit starts showing, this latter rain comes. And the latter rain causes it to ripen and be ready to be harvested or eaten. And so he doing all that. Because that's where these pagans getting their religion from. They're thinking that some deity that they worshiping or some idol that they created doing it. But they ain't doing it. It's he doing it. Okay? So let's keep on going. It says, verse 9 says, thou visitest the earth, watereth it, thou greatly enriches it. So in the book of Enoch, it tells you that it's anointing in the water that's in heaven. The river of God is anointing in that water, and it falls. That's why you got the cycle, condensation. It's anointing in it. It falls to the earth. That's what all animals, everybody, humans, the earth, the plants, all that waiting on that water. It's something in it. And then once it falls and that anointing falls and it's in the water and it serves its purpose, the sun take it back up. Like I said, it's a mad cycle. It get anointed again, and it keep doing the same thing, falling back down. So you say, what are you talking about? Verse 9 says, thou visitest the earth, waters it, thou greatly enriches it. That's what you're talking about. Whatever's in the water, with the river of God, which is full of water. Thou prepared them corn when thou hast so provided. So if you remember when Isaac blessed Jacob, he said he blessed them with corn and wine. That's what he's talking about. Same thing right here. And he told Esau when he came in and Jacob was already got the blessing, he said, I already blessed him and I sealed the deal with corn and wine. That's what he's talking about right here. Okay, so 10, thou watereth the ridges. So up here, thou watereth the ridges thereof abundantly. So that's the mountaintops. Water all up there. Thou settleth the furrows thereof. Thou maketh it soft. So that's for planting. Make it soft with plow. Make the ground soft. With showers. Thou blesseth the springing thereof. So that's the springing is the sprouting of the plants and the vegetation. 11, thou crownest the year with thy goodness, with thy rain, and thy paths drop fatness as water, as rain. 12, they drop upon the pastures of the wilderness, right? So I look wild open wilderness, water falling, and the little hills rejoice, everything rejoicing on every side. Then 13, the pastures are clothed with flocks, and the valleys also are covered over with corn. They go to corn again. And they shout for joy. They also sing. So the cattle out in the field, sheep, everything, water falling on everybody. Everybody getting blessed. So the Gentile got us believing that it's a bad day when it rains. But the Bible we see right here, it's actually a blessing. It's actually a blessing when it rains. When it rains, you should be out there in the middle of the rain. This is a blessing. But they got us running in the house when it's actually something good. Okay? Anybody got any comments on that?
No, sir.
Okay.
Shalom.
Well, let's go to some current events.
This is creatine monohydrate, one of the most researched.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. So I have a video that I'm going to share with you guys that shows a woman going on a serious rant against her own people. It seems like they're starting to turn on one another because there are those who are looking at what has happened in the past and what continues to happen. And they're saying, like, are we going to sit here and pretend like this stuff never happened? Are we going to sit here and pretend like the playing field is level? Well, anyway, she goes all the way in. I want you all to take a listen at this epic rant. And of course, you know, I will be right back.
You know what? I love it when we white people, and I'm going to assume you're white since you had to be a smart ass here. I love it when we white people can't mind our own business. It seems to be on a Friday morning, July 5th, 2024, and all the racists and all the white women tears and all the white men out there just getting in black people's comment sections and letting her rip. Why do we do that? Because we're jealous? Sure, it's jealousy. And you know what makes me laugh more than anything? Is your account is private. You don't have a picture, but you go into the black man's comment section. He's explaining to his audience what's happening in his video. That's his video, not yours. And you decided that you had to do that or say this. They are smart. And we'd be smart too if we'd stop being fucking racist. I'm just saying. I am so tired of us doing this shit. Now, I don't care what the hell anybody says. I'm calling your ass in or I'm calling you out. In this case, I'm calling your ass out. Enough of this. If you didn't like that video, all you had to do was scroll. I tell you, we got the unmitigated gall, don't we?
Right now, y'all, it seems like the hypocrisy is so strong and so thick that people are just getting fed up with it. They're getting tired of this policing of the world while pretending to be moral, pretending to be the moral authority. So this woman, she was really bothered by the fact that they get in our comment sections and they say things. Sometimes they try to correct you. Sometimes they try to insult you. Sometimes they do it all, right? And they try to pretend to be the moral authority, like I say often. It trips me out. Oh my goodness, that's the highest level of hypocrisy. It trips me out when you have a group of people who have literally terrorized the whole planet, but yet they go around policing the whole planet and telling people what they should and should not be doing, while we have reel after reel after reel after video, clip after clip after clip, showing them doing the things that they're policing other people for doing. They're literally doing these things, getting caught on camera, and they just explain it away. And they have a whole system that gets behind them and finds them not guilty. A whole system that comes up with a way to explain it all away. A whole system that comes up with a way to justify the wrongdoing. And so it seems like some white people are starting to turn on one another. They're saying, look, we're not gonna, I can't deal with the code anymore. The code of silence. I'm tired of it. Many of them are speaking up and speaking out, like this woman said in this video. Speaking up and speaking out because they're looking at it for what it is. Now, if you all remember that movie, A Time to Kill, it had Samuel L. Jackson as the star. In that, we all remember what those white guys did to that little tiny black girl. Something so horrendous. And the system that usually protects them was about to do it again. That system was going to let those men walk for what they did to that little tiny little baby, that little girl, that little black girl. So the father, Samuel L. Jackson, he couldn't deal with what he saw happening. He saw them about to let these men go. And so he took matters into his own hands. And he sent those guys to meet their maker. So what ended up happening in the movie, for those of you who, some of you may have seen it, some of you may have not. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. It's an old movie. But anyway, the goal was to try to get him off because he was protecting his child. That was the goal. Sorry for the noise of the air conditioner in the background. I should have turned it off before I started. But anyway, there was a part in the court hearing, the trial, not the hearing, the trial, where the white attorney for Samuel L. Jackson had to explain all of the horrendous things that was done to that little black girl. He explained it in great detail. As a matter of fact, when he was explaining it, he told everybody to close their eyes and imagine everything that he was saying. And then the last part of the statement was, he says, now imagine that all of those things happened to a little white girl. And this is what you heard in the courtroom. Everyone blew out that air from their lungs, lifted up their heads in shock, almost as if to say, how terrible. It was only terrible when they imagined that those things happened to a little white girl. And that was an amazing strategy by that attorney. But that's what it took, because he already knew that his people could not sympathize with a small, frail, 10-year-old black child. But when their minds were able to imagine that the child looked like one of them, that's when the sympathy, the empathy, all of that kicked in. That's when it all kicked in. That's when the concern kicked in. That's when the utter disgust and shock kicked in at the guys who could do such a thing. But that's what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with. But a lot of people are starting to get their eyes open. And they're starting to speak up and out, because this level of hypocrisy has reached unto heaven. And this is why God, as the world calls him, is judging this country.
Okay. Any comments on that?
Shalom. I saw that movie several times, and um, it was breathtaking. It was so much going on, and I can see by her saying what's happening right now, how the Lord of Hosts is judging the United States.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Trying to see what's going on. Give me a minute. Computer acting up. Okay. Yeah, that's. I think the name of that movie was "A Time to Kill." With, well, yeah, it's a pretty good movie. So everybody watched the video that I sent out.
Shalom, everyone. Yes, sir, I did.
Shalom. I watched it also.
Okay. What you think? Get anything out of it?
Shalom. Yes, sir. I did get some things out of it. Brought some things to view by him going back and looking at all the presidents and how the wars that were came about and why they came about. Um, and I'm going to look at it again because it was moving fast for me. So I'm going to watch it again and just slow it down for myself to really get with it. But far as China and Russia, how he explained it is I'm, I'm looking at that because I'm still thinking that China and Russia is not really going to be together, but because they got two different, it seem like they're on the same accord, but not to me. So I'm going to look at it again.
Right. It says if you go to, which is where they went, they also went there. Second Ezra. If you're familiar with Second Ezra, it says that at the end he had two wings. There was an eagle that was the fourth beast was an eagle that he showed to Ezra. He showed it to Daniel, but he says I didn't explain it to you. I'm explaining to you more so than I explained. I'm going more into detail than what I explained to Daniel. So at the end of that fourth beast, which was the eagle, he had two little wings left. That's Gog and Magog, Russia and China. You understand the and it also says that they're not going to get along. That's part of their characteristics. That's when you understand how the Lord always works. He always brings them in against each other. But they together now. But when it's all said and done, after the Most High Lord of Hosts finished with them, yeah, they're gonna be at odds with each other. He's gonna magnify. He's gonna magnify the odds.
Shalom. And that's what I was looking at, being that they put them together now, like you said, and like it's being shown for others to join in. It's like if you got two big bad boys in the gang, then a lot of them will come on in because they thinking those two, the biggest, baddest two, will help them out, but they're not. It's just to draw those other with bricks, is to draw the rest of them to come in to the fold, and it's gonna flop.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So anybody else got anything on that? I'm trying to get my computer right. It's tripping on me. Let's see. Okay. I'm gonna have to play these videos one at a time. Computer shut out.
Rooms loads a complete serving of fruits, veggies, adaptogens, vitamins.
States, we are experiencing a heat wave, and a massive heat wave at that. Around the country, we are seeing that in certain areas, they are now seeing record highs as far as temperature. And in some homes, their siding is actually melting right off of their home. Now, today I want to discuss what is happening because we are actually seeing deaths happen as of today. People are losing their life because of the heat, but these are people with homes. What about the homeless? What about those without any air conditioning? What about those that have nowhere else to go? Well, we're going to get to that in just a moment. I'm going to explain what's going on and why experts say that the deaths that are happening today is just the beginning because of a certain cost. I'm going to break all that down in just a moment, but all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now let's begin. So just look at this. This is an article from Newsweek, and it says blinds melt in Arizona amid historic U.S. heat wave as temperatures hit 118 degrees Fahrenheit. That is very hot. Now, most people don't realize what is coming because they are too caught up in the here and now. But according to experts, the big problem is the costs. Let me show you this right here, okay? Because most people don't realize this. It says electrical bills expected to increase due to heat. It says families are likely to see their electrical bills increase 7.9% from June to September this year to an average cost of $719 compared to $661 during the same period last year. The big thing is 7.9% from June to September. Okay? So what is that? You got June, July, August, September. That's 3 months. It's going to jump 7.9%. Goes on to say over the last 10 years, as summer temperatures have increased and the U.S. has experienced more extreme heat events, the cost of cooling homes during the summer has gradually increased from an average of $476 in 2014, excuse me. It says according to the association, nearly 20% of low-income households have no air conditioning, okay? They have no air conditioning. And on top of this, the federal funding for low-income home energy assistance was decreased by $2 billion this year. Means nearly 80% of the program's funds are used for heating. So only 20% is left over to ensure low-income families stay cool during the heat. Now, this is a big issue because we've seen this before where people can withstand the really cold months because there's a lot of federal funding going into that. During the summer, that's the complete opposite. We don't have all this funding. You know why? Because according to reports, they have to move that money. They have to move billions of dollars to cover for wildfires and hurricanes. So the federal government has a budget that's here. The problem is they're trying to fit everything in. And that's where every single summer we see the same issue, where even FEMA is asking for more money every single summer because they run out due to hurricanes and wildfires. That's where we're at this time. Now, it's not just in Arizona where things are just blindingly hot. Even in Denver. It says Denver braces for a looming heat wave. It's just starting. Keep in mind the summer just started, right? Yeah, we're in the July 9th right now, but the summer technically just started. That's what's so crazy about this. But as this is happening, we are seeing homeless, we are seeing people with no air conditioning. They're actually losing their life. An article from CNN says, U.S. heat wave turns deadly as high temperatures continue to scorch the West. It says more than 50 million people across the U.S. are under heat alerts amid a brutal heat wave that shattered records and caused multiple deaths across the West. It says California and Nevada are expected to see more daily record high temperatures in the next week ahead. Get ready for that. Now, here's what I think is interesting. Experts are saying that the deaths that we're facing right now is just the beginning. But why? Well, according to experts, the reason for this is because of the cost. People are paying for, they're not necessarily paying for it yet, but they're using their electricity, they're using their air conditioners a little bit more, right? They're running just nonstop. So that's one thing. They're going to have to pay that cost here in the next month. As they pay that cost, they can't afford food. They can't afford to maybe keep their electricity on or gas. And so if they can't afford those costs, guess what? We could see these companies come and shut them down. Like, no, you haven't paid. We are going to shut you down. Now, many states and cities have it in their kinds of policy where when it's really cold, the state or the city cannot shut off your electricity. I don't think the same thing applies when it's too hot. Only when it's too cold. You don't want you to freeze. But do they care if you overheat? Right? You have heat exhaustion, right? No. That's where things get very interesting. So, experts believe that over the next month or so, we are going to see deaths increase because we are still going to have these heat wave pockets throughout the United States, but at that time, now people are going to have to contend with their different bills, their utility payments, food, medications, things like that. And that's where experts say that's the real worry, is what happens then. What do they pay for? And is there any assistance? Because like I just showed you, the majority of low-income households don't have air conditioning, but they also don't have as much money or federal funding going towards them because that has been cut by $2 billion just this year. So we're going to see what happens. Now, the last thing I want to leave you with is this. If you are in an area that is very hot, one of the things that many lower income households have learned to do over the years is if it's hot, they stay inside. Okay? Just simple as enough. Simple. You just stay inside. You take thumbtacks. You pin a blanket over your window. Just a little bit extra added protection, but also added insulation to keep the heat out. So you have some fans running. Maybe you have an air conditioner. And if you do, you don't have to keep it running 24 hours a day. Okay? Keep your house not necessarily cold, but keep it where it's comfortable. It may be at 75, maybe it's 78, but keep it where it's comfortable. You can actually just survive in it just for the time being. And I break.
Okay. Anybody else came and ran into this heat yet?
Shalom. Well, here in North Carolina, it went up to 100 degrees. It was so hot,
Okay.
but they didn't say did a lot of heat advisory. It gets heat advisory when it gets to 98 degrees, and then they throw on the heat advisory for people to stay in their homes. And it got up to 100. Um, I just can't see how people in Arizona does it, or out there in Texas and places that gets all the way to 110. It's just it's gas. Excuse me. It's just so hot that it's hard to breathe sometimes when it gets that hot. But yes, it's a lot of ways that one can warm up, but it's hard to cool off. In They got parks open where the little children can go, and the water is sprinkling up on them, and they can cool off that way. But once they get out of that water, their skin is wet, and here's the heat again. You know, it's just this weather is something else. And like
Mhm.
in Mecca, when they went and they're just you know, dropping dead because of the heat. It's just a
Right.
lot. We need to, make sure we hydrate and hydrate in the right way. Find ways that would keep us cooler.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Uh, what about you, Michelle? You ran into any heat?
Yes, sir. Shalom, everyone. Yes, don't even want to go out in the heat. It was a heat advisory here, visiting in Georgia right now. So there was a heat advisory today. And I was reading about that in California, said Death Valley reached up to 129 degrees. So California is getting hit um, very hard, and so is Texas. The storm came through Houston, and I
Right.
have family that's out there that's without power. They still don't have internet. Not all of them. Certain areas got hit worse than others, so they're
Right.
kind of bunking up together to stay cool, the ones that do have power. But yeah,
Okay.
Houston got hit bad too, and Houston can get very hot.
Exactly. Right. Right. Yeah. And just for GP, that they say that the storm that just went through Texas, it's still going. It's going strong. That's not normal. So it's still going ahead on, even though it's on land, it's still going. Ain't
Yes,
that
sir.
something?
Yes.
If you're looking for signs, that's one of them right there. Ain't that something?
Exactly. I was gonna say with the video that we watched, it talked about nuclear, right? So
Mm-hmm.
imagine how hot, it is now. So
Right.
that part of the video really, caught my attention because I was reading a book on it. It's called Planning the Unthinkable: How New
Right.
Powers Will Use Nuclear, Biological, and Chemical Weapons. So that part was very interesting, to me. So we got to imagine it ain't gonna be nothing nice.
Exactly. Ain't that something? Yeah. Oh yeah. And
Yes,
it's
sir.
unnatural. This ain't no. This not no normal heat. Since I've been on the planet, it ain't never been this hot. You can't tolerate it. You know what I mean? You can stay there for a minute, but you got to go somewhere. It's just like it just go through you.
Yes, sir. This is not just regular summer heat. This is extreme heat waves that we're dealing with.
It's coming up, bro.
Hmm.
Right. It's up on them. Ain't that something? So yeah, with we're gonna get ready to go into this. Well, we put the video out there a while back. I mean, like two days ago, 3 days. So we can talk about it tonight. Before we do that, I was gonna open it up for some Q&A, question and comments. Anybody have anything they came across, something they heard on YouTube, uh, that they want to, or they heard on this channel, they want some clarity to talk about before we go into our topic, which is Gog and Magog, and the breakdown on that, according to uh, the video.
Um, Shalom. Only thing that I heard on YouTube today was talking about the doctor that came and visit the White House with Biden, and he's like a specialist in Parkinson. And then
Right,
they said that he spoke with Biden's doctor, physician, and they're, I don't know if it's like trying to say that he may have Parkinson or not,
right,
but they're doing a lot of things about his health in the news. In New York Times, they don't want. They have put out that he's really ill, and they're trying to combat that on that. That he's not. It's just a simple cold and jet lag
right,
and things like that. Yes, sir.
right.
So,
And
so they're
that's
hammering really. I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
So they're hammering really on his health, um, and his mental capacity or stage of his mental part of him.
Okay, yeah, that's crazy because I mean, go back to McCain. McCain when he ran against Obama.
Yes,
All
sir.
that ain't coming up. Look at Trump. Ain't nobody saying nothing about Trump. Look at it's crazy. This how they just single out stuff. That's what I mean about Esau when he got Esau already been playing. McCain ain't had no business running against Obama. He wasn't in no position to run no country either. Neither one of them is him or Trump. So, but it's all part of the plan.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah. So,
Shalom, everyone. Just a
okay.
little comment on Biden's health. Did you guys read that today about a Navy sailor that was trying to access Biden's electronic medical records? He was disciplined for that.
No,
Oh
ma'am.
no, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, that was in the news today. That was something else.
Okay, got another Snowden.
Okay.
And this
Yes, sir.
He
Yes.
gonna, he gonna, he gonna, they ain't through with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got another Snowden. Is there something?
Yes,
That's
sir.
crazy. Right. Yeah, so this video that we're gonna deal with is called the Battle of Armageddon, uh, Gog and Magog, and the angle and the perspective that the guy came from was decent, even though he's dealing with JC and and all that, but he has some good strong points in it, and it's kind of, to me, it was kind of bounced off of the video I did on the 10 beasts, how that they're gonna come. The fourth beast is going to reincarnate itself. It's going to transform itself 10 different times. And what we actually watching the transformation of the last one, which is China and Russia coming on the scene, specifically China. Because, like I said before, what Esau, when you understand Edom, Rome, Edom is synonymous. They're the same people. So the fourth beast is Rome. Rome is Edom. So Esau is the fourth beast. And what he's done, being that he had access to the Hebrews and their culture because he was raised by Abraham and Isaac. So he figured out how to keep it going. We want all the first three beasts that came on the scene, the Babylonians, Medes and Persians, and the Greeks. They built a kingdom, and it was in a one geographical location. It rose in that location and it declined in the same location. But Esau's four beasts, what Daniel tell you, is diverse from the other three. And the reason that it's diverse, it's able to relocate because before it falls. It understands that what goes up gonna come back down, so it'll go up and rule for. And then when it's time for it to start declining, they pack their bags and take everything with them and relocate somewhere else. That's the difference in the four beasts and all the rest of them. That's Esau's wisdom, the wise men of Timon. So you have to understand that. So the 10 toes they talking about is the 10 horns is because it relocates itself. It's still it's only 4 beasts. It ain't no 5 beasts or no 6 beasts. It's 4. We still dealing with the 4th beast as we speak. So the people keep saying over and over, talking about Rome failed, Rome ain't failed. You're still dealing with Rome. He's just a shapeshift on you. Like I said, when the British was ruling, that's Esau. Then they came here. Now America ruling. Then they relocated back in the 90s, 80s, and 90s. Took all and we're gonna see that. The brother gonna say that. Took all of those companies, same ones that was behind Hitler. They took all those companies and they relocated China because they was able to cut their costs on labor. They had those slave labor camps over there in China, just like they did over here. The reason why America blew up. The 9th beast, the 9th incarnation of the 4th beast. And then so when the labor costs and all that started rising over here, they went to China and got all that that low income of slave labor over there from the Chinese. And that's how you see China where it's at today. It ain't just, there ain't no accident the way that happened. It was all planned. They did the same thing with the 9th. They did the same thing with Britain. They did the same thing with Charlemagne and the Byzantine Empire. All those are reincarnations of the 4th beast. It's transforming itself. So, with that being said, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play parts of the video and then deal with it, and we'll do it like that until we finish with dealing with the video. And if you have anything that's said that you want to comment on, just let me know and I'll stop.
For yet another opportunity that he has granted unto us to be able to come before you yet once again. It has been 2 weeks, or is it 3 weeks already, that we came online. Unfortunately, due to some some YouTube guidelines, we were not able to post anything for some weeks. However, by the mercies of Elohim, all things is sorted. And as long as we are using certain platforms, we need to apply certain wisdom going forward. So nonetheless, we are grateful to be able to come before you once again. The Bible says, buy the truth and sell it not. So as it is our custom, we will continue with our regular programming. And we thank Elohim for all of you guys that have been asking where we were and that have been patiently waiting. So we are back once again. By the mercy of Yah, we hope that all of you are doing well. We hope that you and your family members, your loved ones, are prospering. Your body, soul, and spirit. We hope that you are not lost in the sauce of this day and age, but that you are vigilant, redeeming the time because the days are evil. We thank Elohim for the fact that he has kept us, all our family members and all our loved ones, that he has kept our mind intact, that he has provided for us, and that he is helping us mentally, physically, financially, emotionally, spiritually, whatsoever we have need of. We know that in Elohim's own due time, he will establish the things that will benefit us, not in the short run, but in the long run. So all that behooves us is to be patient, that we continue this race with patience, hopeful, and not envying one another, but appreciating the gifts that Elohim has put in our midst, and knowing that once upon a time, the people that now have plenty also had none. But when the day and the time of visitation come, and the time of grace came, Elohim afforded unto them that which they had need of. And we, claiming to be his children, know that in due time, if we are patient, Elohim will remember us. So having said that, let us look at what we will deal with today. So we will look at the battle of Armageddon. We'll look at the battle of Armageddon. So let's continue.
Yeah.
So the introduction, please.
We have often heard about the great final war of Armageddon, where the armies of the world will join hands to fight against the holy people. Unfortunately, due to Western propaganda, the world has turned upside down, and the masses are utterly confused as to who the oppressor is and who is the oppressed. This is the great deception warned. This is the great deception warned to us by the prophets, and because of this, many people and nations have entered in league with the beast and the dragon. For this lesson, however, we will try to uncover the mask with regards to the end-time players on the biggest stages of prophecy and the events that will lead to the final war of Armageddon. This is a complex teaching. However, due to the political sensitivity of the platform we are on, we will give you the mid version.
Exactly. So the topic is complex. The topic is complex. As they say in Dutch, to get to the nitty-gritty of this subject, you need a lange aanloop, which means you need to set up certain... It's just like you're playing chess and you want to put someone on checkmate. You need to put all the pawns at the right place and then strike. Otherwise, you will miss this whole Armageddon stuff, because I think it's only mentioned like once. I think it's only mentioned once. It's only mentioned once. The Armageddon is only mentioned once, and then you have Gog and Magog mentioned like a few times. But so you need to put certain things in place before you can really bring it home. And we have roughly about 63 slides, which is a challenge. But we will see how far we will go. It may take us from 220 to max 230 hours. So
May Yah grant us understanding and help us all. So take your time, take your pen, take your papers, have something to eat, to drink, whatever you want. Take it easy. And don't expect to understand everything at once. These are things you have to listen to 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 20 times, and then do your own study. And because of the time that we have, and of course the platform that we are on, we will leave certain breadcrumbs for you to further investigate. So may Elohim grant you understanding and grant unto us utterance. Yeah. So the table of content. We will look at understanding Revelation 17, the end of the U.S. hegemony, the AIPAC and Israeli manipulations. We'll look at Iran and the rise of the 10 kings. We'll look at World War III and the nuclear fallout. We'll look at the armies of Armageddon, the invasion of sub-Saharan Africa, the advent or the coming of the Son of Man, and then a conclusion. Exactly. So these are the things that we will touch. And these are the things that we will touch. And this is especially helpful for a lot of our Hebrew Israelite brothers. It is especially helpful for a lot of our Hebrew Israelite brothers because somewhere down the line, many of the camps, etc., some still believe that the promised land is in the US and stuff. And it's not that we are boasting of the continent of Africa for a reason. We don't, actually. Africa is not the only place with natural resources. Africa is not the only place that is beautiful. Africa is not the only continent with melanated people. That is not the issue. Russia has natural resources. Latin America has natural resources. Haiti has natural resources. That is not the issue. The issue is you have to remove your sentiment and you have to look at the prophecies. And looking at the prophecies, when we go down the line, you will realize that it cannot be America simply because of the reason that America will no longer exist. So how will Elohim keep his people in a place where there is nothing left? So when we deal with these prophecies, hopefully a lot of our brothers and sisters will gain understanding. And as for our Christian brothers and sisters, this topic will go over their head because if you have a Zionist mindset, you won't get this. And also for them, we will have certain arguments just for you to consider. We have stopped trying to persuade people. All that we are doing is telling the truth so that those that are of Elohim will have something to think about. Yeah. So these are the things that we will discuss today. At some moments, the videos will speak for me, so I don't have to explain. And at other times, I will explain. So some topics we will jump, and others we will take our time, looking at how long we have. So let us then continue. Understanding Revelation 17. And there came, or Revelation 17 from 1, and there came one of the 7 angels.
Okay, before we go get into that, anybody got any comments? What was said? Everybody good?
Shalom. He did mention that he said when the angels come down to save us. So he didn't specifically say the Lord of hosts. He just said the angels come down.
Exactly, right, yeah. I was going to comment on that, but I was going to later, but he keeps saying Elohim, just like the church doing. I already went over that. I got videos on it. But Yahweh ain't no Elohim. Elohim is plural. So Yahweh is not Elohim. He got 7 angels he created. That's the Elohim. That's a singular word. That's a plural word. So Yahweh ain't Elohim. I also got a book. I wrote a book. The history, his story, the Elohim of Israel, breaks down that understanding on what Elohim means. Because El is one God. Elohim is more than one God. Okay? So let's get off into this Revelation 17.
who had the 7 vials and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, and I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sits upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away into the spirit, into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
Exactly. So let's continue.
Verse 11.
And the beast
that was and is not, even he is the 8 and is of the 7 and goes into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but received power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is master of masters and king of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he said unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the whore sits, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For Yah had put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yah shall be fulfilled.
That's right. So we are continuing. Now, this is just to lay some of the foundations, understanding Revelation 17. They are describing certain elements, and based on the description that we just saw of a woman sitting on a beast, going towards somewhere, holding a golden cup in her hand. On your screen, you are seeing the €2 coin. Some of the American brothers don't know it because they're not in Europe. But those that live in Europe, this is a €2 coin in Europe. And look at what is depicted on the coin. You see a woman with a crown on her head, holding something in her hand, riding upon a beast. So just read the intro of the text on the left. It says, Europe, the woman riding on a beast. It says the myth of Europe
has inspired writers, historians, painters, and European politicians throughout the centuries. They gave her name to a continent and created several pieces of art depicting the love-making of Zeus and Europe. But let us first recall the most common version of this ancient legend. According to Greek mythology, the Phoenician maiden named Europa was one of the many objects of affection of Olympian chief god Zeus.
So you can basically stop there. What they're trying to tell you is that this Europe is the wife of the beast, and that beast symbolizes Zeus. Now, all the people that know antiquity know that Zeus is also linked to Baal. Zeus is just the Romanized Greek version of the Phoenician Canaanite Baal. So that is all that I'm trying to link here. And we know Baal can be linked onto the dragon. But we are continuing. So laying the foundation, European Union, right? Daniel 7 verse 2. It says, Daniel spake and he said,
I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heavens strove upon the great sea, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. Then I would note.
That's what I was talking about earlier when I was talking. It says that it's diverse. 4 beasts is diverse from the other 3 that came before it. And the reason being is it's not going to fall. It keep on relocating itself. That's why it's still in existence to this day. It keep on relocating itself. And it's Esau. And another thing too, you're going to see as we go,
It's a woman. The actual beast, the four beasts that we dealing with, but it's a woman riding on the beast. You got the beast, which is the four beasts, but it's a woman riding on it. It's a woman that's dictating it. Like I said, Esau, he's the one. He get when he'll go somewhere, empower the beast, it rise, and then when it starts declining, once it reaches apex and start declining, he pack up all his bags and go somewhere else. And so what we're looking at now, they've been doing this. It's a controlled demo job. They know how to raise the beast up, and they also know how to tear it down. And it's, like he said, when Isaac gave him a blessing that he cried for, he told him, you're gonna be in the fat places of the earth, but you're gonna live by your sword. So, like I said, World War I, World War II, they rose. Then when the beast reaches apex, they brought war, sword, tore everything down because they making money off of that, off of tearing places down and then rebuilding them, real estate and all that. So every time we get to, that's what we is today. America reached its apex. They through with it. So now you're seeing a controlled demo job, and how they gonna do it? War. Okay, but like I said, the beast that we dealing with, which is the four beasts, it's a woman riding on the beast. That woman has to be identified. And the God of Israel focus is on the woman. The beast, the woman is using the beast to do all the dirty work.
The truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful.
So he wanted to know the truth, but the angel, even though the angel tried to explain it unto Daniel, further down the line, you will see the angel telling Daniel, go thy way, because it is given unto them that will come in that time. Because many of the things I will show you, you will not be able to understand. So then, years later, Ezra comes along, and Ezra begins to have visions. So he asked the angel to explain what he saw, and then he said to me,
and he said unto me, this is the interpretation of the vision. The eagle, whom thou sawest come up from the sea, is the kingdom which was seen in the vision of thy brother Daniel. But it was not expounded unto him. Therefore now I declare it unto thee. Behold, the days will come that there shall rise up a kingdom upon earth, and it shall be feared above all the kingdoms that were before it. In the same shall 12 kings reign, one after another, whereof the second shall begin to reign, and shall have more time than any of the 12. And this do the 12 kings signify, which thou sawest.
Exactly. And now on the left, we have once again the European flag, and it just so happens to be that there are 12 flags or stars on it, because these were the 12 founding nations of Europe. So we are just laying the foundation and continuing. Next slide. I wrote down the time of the Gentiles, continuing from the book of 2nd Ezra. It says, then I heard a voice
which said unto me, look before thee and consider the thing that you see. And I beheld, and lo, as it were, a roaring lion chased out of the wood. And I saw that he sent out a man's voice unto the eagle, and said, hear thou, I will talk with thee, and the highest shall say unto thee, are not thou it that remains of the four beasts, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them? And the fourth came and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness.
So notice, like I said, you see so many people, they try to deal with this or tackle this. It's four beasts. It's not no five beasts. You can't go to the toes and then the 10 toes and then say the Antichrist coming. That's a whole other beast. That's a five beast. This is only four beasts. And what we're dealing with is we're dealing with the very end, which is this four beasts. Is what he told Daniel, and then he later came to Ezra and explained to Ezra in more detail. Ain't no five beasts. It's only four. So the same beast that
when Julius Caesar came on the scene, it's the same beast we're dealing with now. It's just it transformed itself and it morphed with knowledge and all that. So it morphed, but we're dealing with the same beast.
And over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression, and so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit.
Exactly. So, bringing it home, when we are looking at the foundations of understanding Revelation 17, you have Europe, you have the Vatican or Italy, and then you have the United States. These are pillars in understanding the book of Revelation, because the book of Revelation references three things. So you have the ego, which is the US, you have Europe, and then you have the Vatican. Why am I saying that? If you go to the next slide, I'll bring it home and said, as explained in earlier series,
the book of Revelation is solely focused on the trials of Israel and its confrontation with the final Gentile kingdom before the coming of the Messiah.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier prophets have called this final Gentile kingdom by many names.
Mm-hmm.
Babylon,
Mm-hmm.
Gog and Magog, the fourth beast, the eagle of the sea, the beast of the sea, mystery Babylon, etc.
Mm-hmm.
In our contemporary terms, we have identified it to be the West, Europe, and the United States.
Exactly.
In the context of Revelation 17, however, it speaks of, number one, the beast, which is Rome.
So number one, which is the beast, which is Rome, which is the mother
of Europe. The woman is the United States and the child of Europe. The 10 kings are the nations that...
So you see that? It says that America is the woman. So America is the whore. Anybody got any comments on that?
Shalom. By you saying that, because America, well, the U.S. wants to rule all these other uh, countries. So if that is the mother of her children, would be Europe, Asia, um, Russia, all these other places, and she's dictating what they can and cannot do, symbolizing what the U.S. is doing, going over and saying what they can and cannot do. They should be doing this, taking and changing their way of living by trying to have them do the same as the U.S., colonizing these other places. So she's, as the mother, would control her children to get them to do what she wants them to do. Per se, the U.S. is trying to get the other countries to do as, or not do things that they don't want them to do. That's my
Okay.
take.
So when we started out, it said, when we started reading Revelations, it said that they saw a beast and they saw a whore riding on the beast with scarlet color, red. There's a woman riding on the beast. So America can't be the beast and the woman too. He just said that
Correct.
America. So he just said America is the woman. So where the beast at? So at the same time, it's saying that the beast is America too. So let's go back and look at some of the videos and some of the information I didn't laid out. Okay, when you understand that Esau, the book of Obadiah tells you Esau stole the land of Israel back in 143 BC, right? Israel, we know that the Lord of hosts is this God over Israel. Israel is the woman. That's the real woman. But and when Antioch Epiphanes came at the end of the Greek kingdom, they was kicked out, not in 70 AD. Esau stole the land of Israel, and he started calling himself by the name, by the 12 tribes of Israel. He stole the land by lot. It tells you that in Obadiah. So they go to harlot, they go to woman right there that's decked in red. So when you understand that that was Esau who came in the land and stole the land and dwelled there from 143 BC to 70 AD. And then they was kicked out. They went to Spain. What? They the ones dealing with looking for somewhere to go, land. So they the ones sent out the Nina and the Pina and the Santa Marina. So when you understand that, the brother just brought up the fact that Europe, European Union. Okay, when you understand Paul's journeys, where did Paul go? The 7 churches, where they at? Can anybody answer that? Where the 7 churches at? That's in Revelation?
No, sir.
Ain't they in Europe?
No, sir. I'm sorry.
The 7 churches is in Europe. That's Esau right there. That's the whore. She in Europe. Okay, then so where did America come from? Where did those people come from when America was founded? It came from Europe.
Europe. Yes, sir.
So that's where the conflict coming in at. Is that America it's a whore, it's a harlot that's riding on the beast, dictating everything that the beast doing. That's why the beast able to rise, and then before it fall, it relocates somewhere else. It's the harlot. The whore is the focus. So America can't be the whore. So anyway, like I said before, when you understand what actually happened, who's the real Jews and who's not the fake Jews. The fake Jews are the ones that are a harlot that's controlling this last beast. Okay, so you have to understand that in order to line everything up correctly. So the harlot is using the beast to accomplish everything that they want to accomplish, which is the 4th beast, which is the beast system. It's not coming. It already started. It started way back when Antioch Epiphanes showed up in Jerusalem and ran the Israelites out way back in 143 BC. That's when the beast system started. So you say, why? Why you say it's the beast system? Because they attacked the law. When you go to First Maccabees, you can see he started burning all the books of the law. That's when it started. And then by the time you get to the 4th beast, they already in the process of doing that. They had no problem with changing the Most High word, flipping it all around, what they did at the Council of Nicaea and what they did in Alexandria, Egypt. You have to go all the way back there. That's when the whore came on the scene. The whore, the one that concocted the New Testament. Okay.
Will take power from the woman in due time and will be an extension of the beast.
That's why I showed you the 3 symbols there. And it is important that you understand these 3 symbols. It is important that you understand when reading the book of Revelation, John is simply explaining the further details of the exploits of the 4th beast and what he will do against the holy people. So it is essential for you to understand who is Israel, which we have been telling you for so long, and who is the opposing enemy and final nation that will fight Israel.
Esau.
And the culmination of the war of Armageddon that we will get to in a minute means that these 2 nations, or the remaining part of that final power, it will come against the holy people. And it will reach a climax to the point where if Elohim or the Messiah and his angel do not come, we would die. So I wrote down, though these 3 elements make up
Mystery Babylon, they are not all the same. This is crucial in understanding the Battle of Armageddon.
This is crucial in understanding the Battle of Armageddon, knowing the difference between these 3. So if there is a question, yes.
Yeah, I have 2 questions. When you say the beast, which is Rome, the mother of Europe, are you also referring to all the nations that came out of Rome?
Yeah.
Okay, so that includes all the nations that come out of Rome, okay?
Yeah.
And where would you put organizations like the United Nations, like what you dealt with last week, IMF and stuff like that, like other world powers?
Organizations are institutions made by people.
Systems. Beast system.
Therefore, people fall under nations. So organizations are tools and infrastructures put in place, but they don't make themselves. People make them. And the people that make them are of the nations of the beast.
So, for example, when you mentioned in your study, you mentioned, for example, at the European Union, that's the organization, then we can also view United Nations as, we'll put them in the same category.
The United Nations is an extension of the European Union. Of course, because there is no black and white in life, so there are always gray areas. Of course, there can be other nations that are in the UN, but you should then look at the leaders to understand who is in charge. And you should especially look at who are the founders, because they determine everything.
Yeah, so that was just to clarify.
Yeah. Okay, was that it? Okay, so then having put the foundation for understanding Revelation 17, let's then switch to, as I said, we will focus today on the war of Armageddon, breaking it down to layers. Let's now look at the woman. And as I said, the woman, even the woman has many layers. Some will link the woman to the church, but in the context of the war of Armageddon, we call the woman the U.S.
See that? You said the woman is U.S. Israel, you got a fake Israel over there. That's the woman the Most High tells you in Isaiah 60. Let me get it. See right here, Isaiah 62, I think it is. Maybe 60, but let me make sure. Because this is detrimental. So go to Isaiah chapter 62. Says this the restoration. That's what we waiting on. It says, for Zion's sake will I not hold my peace. This is 62:1. For Jerusalem's sake I will not rest until righteousness thereof goeth forth as brightness, and the salvation thereof as a lamp that burneth. And the Gentiles, right? That's the third and fourth beast, shall see thy righteousness, and all the kings thy glory, and thou shalt be called by a new name, and the mouth of the Lord the mouth of the Lord shall name it. Thou shalt also be a crown of glory in the hand of the Lord, a royal diadem in the hand of God. Thou shalt no more be termed forsaken, neither shall the land be any more termed desolate, but thou shalt be called Hezbollah, and thy land Beulah. That's a female. See that? Land Beulah, for the Lord delighteth in thee, and the land shall be married. For as a young man marrieth a virgin, so shall thy sons marry thee. And as a bridegroom rejoices over the bride, that's female, so shall thy God rejoice over thee. So Israel, nation Israel is a woman, but we know that it's a fake Israel now. The reason why they don't know who the real woman is. So the other woman is the whore, not America. And how we know that? Because there's a whole nation of people over there in the land of Israel right now. So-called land of Israel posing as a woman. That's the whore right there. That's right. That's the whore. The nation of Israel, Judaism and Israelis. That's the whore. Not America. America is the beast. It's a woman controlling the beast. Okay.
So it's the woman riding upon the beast, because the US came from Europe. It's the same as when you read Revelation 13, that there are two beasts. The first comes out of the sea, which is the beast. And then you have one that comes from the land, which is the US, because it is the beast that is giving birth to another beast.
So it is Europe giving birth to the US.
Europe giving birth to the US, because Europe was before the US, right? So when you look at the woman, or the US in this case, we have highlighted here some of their wars, some of the noticeable US presidents and their wars. And you will see, because the US nation as a nation is 400 something years old.
Okay, anybody got any comments? Okay.
It's 400 something years old, and it was only after World War II that they became the dominant superpower of the world. Before that, it was Britain? It was Britain, and it was it France, etc. But after World War II, they came over and they began to take over the world. And just look at how many wars they have fought. Look at how many wars they have fought. And the reason why I'm bringing this all down or explaining all of this is because in prophecy, they have a role. And Elohim calls them by a specific name. So let's then go to USA, the battle axe of the world. Mm-hmm. Jeremiah 51 and 12.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Mm-hmm. Make the watch strong, and set up the watchmen, and prepare the ambushes. Mm-hmm. For Yah has both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. Mm-hmm. Thou art my battle axe.
So when we are reading and you hear Babylon, in understanding Revelation 17, sometimes when it is mentioning Babylon, it is mentioning Europe. Other times when it is mentioning Babylon, it is mentioning the US. Other times when it's mentioning Babylon, it can mention something that they have invented. So you would need laser precision in determining who and what is who. That is why I explained Revelation 17, and I told you, don't take it for face value. There are always layers. So Babylon in this context.
So I'm going to shine a light on this and see if anybody have any comments on it. So he's in the book of Jeremiah. What happened? What was Jeremiah's purpose? What was the Lord's purpose of using Jeremiah? Anybody got any questions? Anybody, any suggestions? Why was he using? Why did he bring Jeremiah on the scene? Who was Jeremiah prophesying about?
Was he prophesying about the Messiah? No.
Jeremiah prophesied about Babylon coming, right?
Yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir.
So you can't say Babylon is America. Jeremiah prophesying about Babylon, the first beast. That's what he's prophesying about. He's prophesying about Babylon. That's what he's prophesying about. And so I'm gonna get a little ahead of myself so you can be able to understand this. So when you go to Second Ezra, that's two different things. You can't compare Second Ezra with this, because when you understand how the Most High works, I showed you that in Isaiah chapter 11, the Most High he's gonna use David. He's gonna resurrect David in the last days, and he's gonna use David as a signal. Let's look at it. See, let's look at it. So he's using David. He's using David as a signal. I mean Isaiah right quick. So you go to Isaiah chapter 11, right? And it says in verse 10, in that day, this ain't happened yet, there shall be a root out of Jesse, that's David, not the Yahushua, which shall stand for an ensign, see that? For a sign, for a signal for the people. He's going to be the signal. And to it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. So this ain't the first time he did that. Let's go to Haggai. Haggai chapter 2, verse 20. And again, the word of the Lord came unto Haggai in the 4th and 20th day of the month, saying, speak to Zerubbabel. See that? Now, governor of, he a king. David a king. Zerubbabel is out of David's lineage. He a king. He's the king, first king on the throne after they get back from Babylon, when they return after the 70 years. Speak to Zerubbabel, governor of Judah, saying, I will shake the heavens and the earth, and I will overthrow the kingdoms of the heathen, and I will destroy the strength of the kingdoms of the heathen, and I will overthrow the chariots and those that ride on them, and the horses and their riders shall come down, everyone by the sword of his brother. Now here you go. Same thing over in Isaiah. In that day, says the Lord of hosts, I will take thee, O Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, says the Lord, and I will make thee a signal. So you gotta understand how the Lord hosts. If you're dealing with JC, you ain't gonna see none of this. But when you understand who the Redeemer really is, the Lord of hosts, he's using Zerubbabel just like he's gonna use David. He used him as a signet. So the same thing right here. He's Jeremiah telling you about what happened with Babylon. He used Babylon as a battle axe. When you go and look at all the countries he used Nebuchadnezzar to destroy. So when you go to Second Ezra, he's doing the same thing again. But it's not the same prophecies. It's the same events. He changed not. All we see is what he's doing in Second Ezra is what he did right here with Babylon. Okay.
Shalom.
Okay.
Would it be like in Zephaniah chapter 1, 14 and verse 14 and verse 15, where it says, "And the great day of the Lord is near. It is near and hasteneth greatly, even the voice of the day of the Lord, and the mighty man shall cry, and their battles barely." 15. That day, the day of the wrath, a day of terrible and distress, the day of witness, wasteness, and delusion, desolate, and the day of darkness, and the day of gloominess, and the day of clouds and thick darkness.
Right. It's
For
the
the day
same
of the
thing.
Lord.
Right. It's more than one day of the Lord. Every time Israel go into captivity, they was in captivity with the Philistines. They was in Moab had them in captivity. Every time they go in captivity, when the Lord comes and deliver them, that's the day of the Lord. But when they concocted this New Testament, these Edomites and all that, they got you thinking it's one day of the Lord and at the very end. No, every time he show up and deliver the Israelites, when he came to Egypt, that was the day of the Lord, the day of their deliverance. Like I said, so same thing what I was explaining earlier about Elohim. You can't call Yahweh Elohim because that's a plural word. It's referring to the 7 angels that the Most High created. That's why they got El on the end of their name. Michael El, Gabriel, Raphael. Elohim means more than one of. It's more than one. In Genesis 1:26, let us go down and make man. That's these 7 angels. Elohim. You can't call Yahweh Elohim. Okay? Play a little more of this, then I'm going to jump.
He's referring to the US.
Something else.
That is why if you especially listen to our Jamaican Rastafarian brothers, they will always tell you, chant down Babylon. What do they mean by that? They mean chant down this oppressive system, this oppressive kingdom that has come and oppressed us. So you have to ask yourself, where do these people get this inspiration from? It is coming from the Bible. Because the Bible is calling this Babylon an oppressive system. And in verse 20, Elohim is saying, thou art my
battle axe and weapons of war. For with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms. And with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider. And with thee will I break in...
So let's look at that. So I told you about this. I want to deal with this battle axe thing. So it says when you go to the book of Judah, right? And you see how that Nebuchadnezzar had sent all those letters out to all those nations around. He was a no-name king, and he was getting ready to fight against the Assyrian army. And the Assyrian army is the biggest army, most powerful army ever existed. So when he sent those letters out, all the nations around there, they wasn't afraid of him. They was afraid of the Assyrian army. So nobody responded to his letters. So I'm not understanding, back to this Elohim, these 7 angels, they was with Nebuchadnezzar. The Most High was with Nebuchadnezzar. He had those 7 angels with him. So he went and fought against the Syrian army and won. And once he won, now he's pissed off because none of those countries sent nobody, none of their soldiers to help him. So he sent a letter to everybody and told them I'm gonna have a feast
for 100 and some days after I finish having this feast, then I'm going to send my Lord of hosts, which was at the time Harphan. I'm going to send him, and he's going to come against every one of these countries and destroy them because you didn't respond to me when I needed you. You sent no soldiers. And so when you go to the book of Isaiah and Jeremiah, you see all those countries being named. That's the battle axe. Babylon, not America. That was the battle. So he went and destroyed all them countries. And the reason why he was using Nebuchadnezzar to do that, because all them countries had previously offended Israel. So he used Nebuchadnezzar, just like he used Cyrus, and he used Nebuchadnezzar to go and destroy all them nations. And like I said before, when you understand how it works, now that we're in the last days, we're at the fourth beast, Israel, this fake ass Israel, like he's gonna explain, which he's on point with, he's gonna use Israel is using America as a battle axe. Just like Yahweh used Babylon back in the day to destroy all these different nations, these Edomites posing as the Israelites in the land that they're not supposed to be in, and they're causing all this drama, and they're using America as they strong man to keep all these countries docile. Like I said, the brother's gonna explain that in a minute, but you have to understand that the Most High, he don't change. Same way he came and destroyed Egypt and delivered us, that's the same thing gonna happen now. He don't change. And so people, when you understand that, you can see that. You can see how what he done back then, he gonna do it again this time. But you can't assume that that's the same thing. It's not the same thing. That's a different event. He used Babylon as a battle axe back then, and now Esau is the harlot. Esau using America to do all this dirty work today. So when it's all over with, he's gonna bring Esau down. He already got them over there where you want them at, but it's a judgment on them, which is in Ezekiel 35. Let's look at it. Look at it right quick. I'm just bouncing around here, man, in this. So you go to Ezekiel 35, and you'll see what I'm talking about. I'll read it. Ezekiel 35. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, right? And keep in mind, Ezekiel was in the captivity in Babylon. So, son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, that's Esau, four beasts, prophesy against it, and say unto it, thus says the Lord God, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee. This the harlot, this the woman that's decked in red, that's Esau color. And I will stretch my hand out against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. And I will lay thy cities, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel in the day of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity came to an end. Therefore, as I live, says the Lord God, I will prepare thee unto blood. Blood shall pursue thee, and since thou hast shed blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus will I make thee most desolate, and cut thee off from it, him that passeth out, and him that returneth, and I will fill his mountains with the slain men in the hills and in the valleys and in thy rivers, and I shall fall, and shall they fall that are slain by the sword, and I will make thee a perpetual desolation, and thy city shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord, because thou hast said, these two nations, what two nations? The northern and southern kingdom. See that? They possessed it back when Antiochus came. It's all in the book of Maccabees. These two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it wherein the Lord was there. So if you're going, in order to possess it, you got to be on the land. That's who in the land. That's who there was there in 70 AD when the Titus and Vespasian ran them out and sent them to Spain. That's why the Nina and the Pina is leaving out of Spain, going to look for new land because these curses on Esau. He's looking for somewhere to go. Get away, try to get away from these curses. So anyway, 11. Therefore, as I live, says the Lord, I will even do according to thine anger and according to thy envy, which thou hast used of the hatred against them, against Israel. And I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee. So, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord, and that I have heard all the blasphemies which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying they are laid desolate, and they are given to us. See that? Esau said they had a right to come in and take the land, right? Thus, with your mouth ye have boasted against me, and have multiplied your words against me, and I have heard them. And thus said the Lord God, when the whole earth rejoice, I will make thee most desolate. And as thou hast rejoiced at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee, and thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Edomah, even all of it, and they shall know that I am the Lord. So right here in this verse 15 tells you, it placed them in the land of Israel. Says, because because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee, that thou may be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all of Edomah. So where is Edomah at? That's when the Edomites came into the land of Israel and stole it. Edomah, that's where Edomah is at. When you look at where Mount Seir was at, they was next door neighbors to the Israelites. And when the opportunity presented itself, they came in when Antiochus came, the Greeks came, and Antiochus came up against Israel. Like I said, it's in the Maccabees. They stole the land. So let me read this right quick and we can move on. So verse 5, Ezekiel 35 and 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. Look at this, in the time of their calamity, right? In the time that their iniquity came to an end. So what is he talking about? When you go to Obadiah, you'll see. Right here, Obadiah. And like I said, I ain't trying to convince nobody. All you got to do is read it. You got the Spirit of the Most High on, you're going to see it. So it says, Obadiah, ain't but one chapter, verse 10. For thy violence, it's the Lord talking, the Redeemer, the Savior of Israel. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee. Thou shalt be cut off forever. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that strangers carried away captive his forces, foreigners entered into his gates and cast lots upon Jerusalem. Right? So what do you mean? It's 12 lots. They came in and stole it by lots. Same 12 names, that's what they use. Zebulun, Judah, Benjamin, they came in and stole and used the same names. So from 143 BC to 70 AD, those as a whore in the land of Israel, posing as Israelites. So 12. But thou should not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger. He was kicked out. This is in First Maccabees. Neither should thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither should thou have spoken proudly against in the day of their distress. Thou should not have entered into the gates of my people in the day of their calamity. They go to the calamity. That's in Ezekiel 35. And Daniel told you, let's go to Daniel right quick, and you'll see the same thing. Go to Daniel right quick, and you're going to see it. It says, Daniel. It's doing the third beast. It says, starting at I'm in chapter 8 of Daniel, verse 19. It's Gabriel talking to Daniel. I started verse 18. Now, as he was speaking with me, Gabriel talking to Daniel, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground, but he touched me and set me upright. And he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be the last end of indignation. for the time appointed the end shall be. So it's not the end of the world. It's the end of Israel as a nation, which is what Antiochus Epiphanes did. 20. The ram which thou sawest having two horns are the two kings of the Medes and Persians, and the rough goat is the king of Greece. That's the third beast. That's where Antiochus came. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king, Alexander. Now that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, four kingdoms shall stand up out of that nation, but not by his power. And in the latter times of that kingdom, when the transgressor shall come to a fool, a king of fierce countenance, understanding dark sentence shall stand up. It's Antiochus. When you go to First Maccabees, it's Antiochus. We in the third beast. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. He shall destroy wonderfully. He shall prosper, practice, and he shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. Holy people is Israel. That's what he's talking about in Obadiah and in Ezekiel 30, when the Israel calamity came to an end. The Most High got tired of dealing with them. And Antiochus came, the Antichrist. Stopped the whole sacrifices and the oblations and ran the Israelites out. And they stole the land and started calling themselves by the name of the Israelites. Seems to me nobody knows that, but that's what happened. And so then in 70 AD, like I said, Titus and Vespasian gave Herod's lineage, Edomites, safe passage to Spain. That's who these Sephardic Jews are that's in Spain. That's tied to Columbus. They sent Columbus out to go look for more land. There's a land they can go to try to get those curses out of Ezekiel 35 off their back. Like I said, he's the one that's controlling the beast. When George Washington was over here and got into it with Great Britain, they went to eat Jews that was already over here. And they gave them money. The whore. Okay? Just like Isaac told him, you're gonna live in the fat places of the earth, but you're gonna live by the sword. Okay?
Pieces the chariot and his rider. With thee also will I break in pieces man and woman. And with thee will I break in pieces old and young. And with thee will I break in.
After the Second World War, the world witnessed the rise of two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. During this phase, former colonies of the West embarked on their journey as independent nations. However, power remained concentrated in the Western countries, who engaged in a global struggle for dominance, particularly with the Soviet Union. After the collapse of the USSR, the Western world order once again emerged triumphant. The United States took center stage, and the dollar became the dominant currency. Western institutions asserted their authority, and the world witnessed a tech revolution spearheaded by renowned American companies. To gain a clearer perspective, let's
look at this. So, like I said, I'm putting an emphasis on the whore, because, like I said, it seems like nobody see the whore. So, America was operating and off the transatlantic slave trade. These Edomites, they're the ones behind the transatlantic slave trade. They're the ones behind all the slaves that's over in Brazil, all the money that's being generated over there, Jamaica, all that area. The Edomites behind it. But they hide. They got other people. They got front men. They hide behind it. So then when you understand that, like I was saying, they moving behind the scenes, coordinating to get the land of Israel back, because that's them that was there in the book of Malachi when the Most High said that he ran them out. And then they told him, though you run us out of here, we're going to come back. So the whole, in between that time period, they orchestrating all kind of events in order to return. So at the end of World War II, they had already made an agreement with Great Britain to get the land of Israel. So right after the war, here they come.
back in the land of Israel, 1948. Popped his head back up, the whore. And that's why you see every time something come up, even recently, how Netanyahu show up in the U.S. Senate, because that's the whore. He's coming from the whore. He's controlling the beast, which is America. Like the brother said on this video, it's going to be America's demise, because they controlled by these Edomites that's running them. The shadow government in America is Edomites. And like I said, they hear themselves so good that the average person, or whether you a lowly pastor or whatever, they don't understand none of that. But the whore is Esau. They already propped their head up over there in the land of Israel and say they're the Israelites. The Israelites, the 12 tribes, is the Most High's woman. So if you got some people that posing as a woman, that's the whore. Can't be America. So Esau using America as to accomplish all the things that they want, as battle axe. Like the brother going to explain in a minute.
Examine the changing economic landscape. In 1820, Asia accounted for 57% of the global economy, while Europe and US combined trailed behind at 35%. However, by 1990, Asia's share had dwindled to 21%. This shift in economic power meant that the world followed the lead of the West.
See that? This
Western
is what I'm talking
countries
about.
held.
This is what I mean right here. America is the third beast. What you're getting ready to listen to is you're looking at de facto the transformations, jumping from Esau has the ability to jump, and he do this 10 different times. America is the ninth beast. Now we're looking at him manufacture the 10th beast, which is China, that we see already emerge on the scene. It's just a matter of them doing the small things to get rid of America, like they did with America. They brought America on the scene. They got rid of Britain. Now they're doing the same thing now with America. They through with America. So they're doing a controlled demo job on America, bringing China in. Just like Daniel said. Okay, watch this.
Economic dominance, enabling them to impose sanctions at will. The problems faced by the West turned into global challenges.
Check this out.
The 2008 financial crisis serves as a prime example of this phenomenon. Subpar lending practices in the United States triggered a global economic crisis, adversely affecting emerging economies.
So now let's look at this. In 2008, everybody should be familiar with that. That's at the stock market. They went this. It's Esau. They cause all this drama at the stock market. Well, go back with the Rothschilds, what they did at the stock market with Napoleon. That's the woman. At the stock market with Napoleon, they had everybody thinking that Napoleon had won the war. They lied, and everybody ran and sold all their stocks. And Esau came in, bought all the stocks back up. Then when they found out Napoleon had lost, then he go Esau with all the stocks from the stock market. That's how he got all the money. So go to the Federal Reserve. The whore, Esau, the harlot, came in and undermined the Federal Reserve. They got control of the Federal Reserve. Everybody thinks it's a Federal Reserve is tied to America. No, it's the whore controlling the Federal Reserve. All the money that's coming to America, this whore controlling it. It's riding on the fourth beast, which is the nation of Israel over there. It's Israelis. Okay, behind the scenes.
Like India. However, this crisis presented an opportunity for Asian countries to narrow the gap with the West.
Now watch what he do.
From a mere 21% in 2008, Asia's share of the global economy rose to
Look what 2008. That's when they caused the economy. It was plain. That's when they caused the turmoil in America. And so then from there, that's when China started rising.
33% by 2020.
2020.
A significant factor in Asia's rise can be attributed to China. In the 1990s, manufacturing shifted from the West to China, enticed by its promise of first world infrastructure at third world prices.
You're able to do this.
Thus began China's remarkable journey as the factory of the world.
Where is it now?
From just $55 billion in 1991, the dragon economy's exports soared to a staggering $3.71 trillion in 2022.
See?
Surpassing both the United States and Europe, Asia emerged as the focal point of growth in the new decade. While Western economies
hand behind
inflation and sluggish growth rates, economies
that.
like India and China lead the way in Asia. Yet, the centerpiece of the West's dominance lies in its control over currency and trade. The actions taken by Western countries following the Russian forces' attack on Ukraine may have triggered a series of events that could potentially undermine this dominance.
Be behind all this. BRICS. The war that's going on in Ukraine.
In 2022, when Russia launched an attack on Kiev. In response, the Western Bloc severed Russia's ties to global economic networks and imposed harsh sanctions. While this action was applauded by many within the bloc, countries outside of it began to ponder the consequences if they were to face similar sanctions. Over the past 2 years, several nations have chosen not to join calls for a complete boycott of Russian oil. India, for instance, has imported substantial amounts of oil at discounted prices to meet its growing energy needs. Calls for de-dollarization have also gained momentum. Countries like India and the UAE have...
So what we're looking at right here is it's a reason why they're doing a slow demo job, because they're sucking all the money out. All this money that's being made now, supposedly a high inflation and everything being jacked up. These are the last wings of this society. They through with it, but they drawing bleeding all the money out of it, so they be sitting on top of a mountain of money. But when China come into power, they have all the money. They did this before. They did it when Britain went down and America rose. They sitting there on all. It was a slow demo job then. They end up with all the money. They pros at it. International bankers. That's the whore. If you don't know that, you're gonna be off. And we see them wholesale doing it right now in front of our face. It's just that now we are awake. The Most High waking His lights up. Okay. They did it before, but we were blind.
Signed agreements to settle trade in their respective local currencies. Additionally, the expansion of BRICS has led to discussions for the introduction of a new currency. These developments come at a challenging time for Western economies. Projections by the IMF indicate further slowdown in Western economies in the coming year. By the end of this decade, Asia could potentially account for 57% of the global GDP.
That's his plan, Agenda 2030.
The new global hubs are emerging in Asia, with Dubai leading the way.
Yeah.
Studies show that Dubai is becoming the sought-after destination.
So let's look at that. So, like I was saying before, you ass out. If you think you're gonna be here, or you think you saying you're Israelite and you're gonna be over here, you ain't gonna be here. It ain't just not the plan. Plan it's going back over there. If you plan on being here, then you might as well go on and get you a headstone, get you a grave, get you a plot, because everything is going down over there. The Most High behind. It ain't going down over here. Our land ain't over here. If you hard headed and you say you're gonna stay here, well, get you a damn tombstone while you getting.
Passing New York and London. The global south is also.
So we are continuing, and the only reason we are showing you that is every end has a beginning, and something must trigger it in order for people to at least wake up. And Elohim will always find a reason to bring about an end of a nation. And basically, what has happened is that the people are now beginning to get sick and tired of the whole Western philosophy. And what has been triggering it is the arrogancy of the West in thinking that they are superior to each and every single person. If you, for example, look at what is happening and the way the West is, for example, treating Russia and all the other nations, and you compare it to the favoritism that the West is showing towards Israel, that is where the people are now beginning to realize that something is very wrong. Because why are the West condemning Russia, putting all manner of sanctions?
So this right here was some good information. Like I said, check it out.
On Russia for invading you could say, sovereign nation, which first was part of the Soviet Union, which the US dismantled because they did not want Russia to be as powerful as they were. But at the same time, they are now justifying Israel's occupation of a country which was also not theirs from the beginning. So where they are approving one nation's evils, they are condemning the other nation's evils. And now the world has seen from America, there is something wrong with these people. They are unjust in the way that they deal. And at the same time also, the putting on of sanctions on Russia and stuff has now...
So I want to make sense of this right here. Before you finish, I want to show you something. Well, I mentioned Malachi, right? We're going to go to Malachi right quick. I want to show you what's going on, right? So I'm in Malachi chapter 1, starting at verse 1. This is when Esau was kicked out of the land. So he can't return. They keep saying Israel returned in 1948. Well, when was you there? If you returning somewhere, that means you were there before. So right here in Malachi chapter 1, verse 1, the burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, said the Lord, Lord of hosts. Yet ye say, wherein have you loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, said the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and I laid his mountain and his heritage to waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Wherefore, look at this. So you got to ask yourself, where he at right here? When the Most High laid his heritage to waste. Verse 4, whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Where the desolate places at? Daniel told you. The abomination make it desolate. Right? Return and build the desolate places. Thus said the Lord of hosts. Not Yahushua. Thus said the Lord of hosts. They shall build, but I will throw down. They shall call them the borders of wickedness. Right? Remember that. Borders of wickedness. And the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. And then here you go. Your eyes shall see, and ye shall say, the Lord of hosts, will be magnified from the borders of Israel. That take you to Ezekiel 35. So Esau gonna get judged where he at right now in the borders of Israel. That's when the Lord of hosts gonna get magnified, because Esau then denigrated him by giving you this JC over in the New Testament. So when he do this right here, judge Esau, because the whole world think they the real people, when he judged them in the land of Israel, which what we see starting to manifest itself right now. When he judged them, then the whole world gonna be in an uproar, because that ain't what they've been told to them. They all over here in the New Testament off of something that Esau and concocted. But right here, Esau says in verse 4, wherefore Edom said to the Lord, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. They came back in 1948. So they had to be there before to come back. So all these world wars, all that was him, the whore, behind the scenes, finding a way, working on a way to get back to the land of Israel. And in 1948, they came back. They made an agreement with Great Britain behind the scenes at the end of World War II. These Edomites was the ones that tricked America into the war. Pearl Harbor. That's the woman, not America. They behind all these wars, all that, they behind.
And as soon as if they make a misstep or whatever, then they bring America in because they controlling it. They got a bit in America's mouth. Okay.
Made them look for other ways to cope. Because if you look at the war in Ukraine and stuff, you realize that where the US miscalculated, thinking that, oh, we will keep Russia in a stranglehold, they have now realized that what they have been doing to Russia has opened the eyes of so many people. And that is why you're also starting to see how the new alliances are being formed. That's why we begin to see why Russia is now alliancing with China. They are forming nations like the BRICS, and all the other nations are joining them. Even many of the African coups that you're now seeing in Africa is because now the Africans see that we don't only have to lean upon the West, we can also do business with Russia and China. So this is basically bringing about an end of the US and the superpower of the world as we see it today. However, we are continuing with why the world is getting fed up.
That's why they say the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
That's why they say the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So now, let's go back to the beginning of the end of the Western world. And all of these are pieces that are needed to be put in place before you can understand Armageddon. So the beginning of the end of the Western world as we know it. Let's look at a video by this, by this guy, Bush. The beginning of the Western world. Let's look at this video.
From threatening America or our friends and allies with weapons of mass destruction. Some of these regimes have been pretty quiet since September the 11th, but we know their true nature. North Korea is a regime arming with missiles and weapons of mass destruction while starving its citizens. Iran aggressively pursues these weapons and exports terror, while an unelected few repress the Iranian people's hope for freedom. Iraq continues to flaunt its hostility toward America and to support terror. The Iraqi regime has plotted to develop anthrax and nerve gas and nuclear weapons for over a decade. This is a regime that has already used poison gas to murder thousands of its own citizens, leaving the bodies of mothers huddled over their dead children. This is a regime that agreed to international inspections, then kicked out the inspectors. This is a regime that has something to hide from the civilized world. States like these and their terrorist allies constitute an axis of evil, arming to threaten the peace of the world. By seeking weapons of mass destruction, these regimes pose a grave and growing danger. They can provide these arms to terrorists, giving them the means to match their hatred. They could attack our allies or attempt to blackmail the United States. In any of these cases, the price of indifference would be catastrophic. We will work closely with our coalition to deny terrorists and their state sponsors the materials, technology, and expertise to make and deliver weapons of mass destruction. We will develop and deploy effective missile defenses to protect America and our allies from sudden attack. And all nations should know America will do what is necessary to ensure our nation's security. We'll be deliberate, yet time is not on our side. I will not wait on events while dangers gather. I will not stand by as peril draws closer and closer. The United States of America will not permit the world's most dangerous regimes to threaten us with the world's most destructive weapons.
So I want you to check out something that I don't see nobody else dealing with it. But it's, like I said, when you understand who Esau is, he's a harlot. He's the woman, the whore that's riding on the beast. He controlling all these men.
like I said, go back to when Great Britain was going on, they got Churchill as a great British hero. No, Esau got Churchill out there. At a time pointed, they always got some big mouth ass, Illuminati ass man on the scene, hoodwink the people. So right here at this turning point right here, with this, they got Bush big mouth ass up there. He ain't nothing but tits on a bull hog, but that's been working. Nobody ain't figured that out yet. They continue to do it. Back during the civil rights movement, they had Martin Luther King big mouth ass out there. They ain't nothing but tits on a bull hog, but they use them and nobody ain't figured it out yet. Or recently, Obama brought him on the scene. Everybody flocked to him. Pure wickedness. Niggas ain't figured it out yet. JC in the church. Yeah. So check it out. So he jumped up and said Iran and North Korea and this other country was the axis of evil. Let's see why. Let's see why this whole thing happened. Like I said, World War II was all about them getting the land to go back in 1948. It wasn't about shit else. Like I said, so you go and look at that and see who the whore is. See if America the whore or is Israel. These Israelis the whore. So right here, he just called out all this axis of evil, right? Watch this.
Yeah. So basically, this was, as many of you already know, was the speech delivered by the great President Bush after the 9/11 attacks in 2001. And the funny thing is, many of you already know who committed the attacks on 9/11.
Check it out.
Saudi Arabia.
It was,
according to
was it not Bin Laden of Saudi Arabia? However, who are the three names that he mentioned? He mentioned Iraq, he mentioned Iran, and he mentioned North Korea, calling them the axis of evil. But he made no mention of Afghanistan or of Saudi Arabia. However, they in their own report said that the people that did it, one was Bin Laden, who's not an Iraqian, he's not a North Korean, nor is he an Iranian. And all the people that they caught that committed the attack, all were from Saudis. However, this guy did not mention Saudi Arabia, but he mentioned Iran, North Korea, and Iraq.
Wow.
And later on, this was the prelude to him then going to Iraq, because they are part of the axis of evil. Going to Iraq, they dismantled Iraq, killed Saddam. But what people don't understand, and then slowly but surely, they began to antagonize Iran. But what people don't understand is there is an agenda behind all of this.
Check it out.
And there is a reason why he will not mention the Saudis, whilst the Saudis and the Afghans did it. So in order to understand the motives behind this injustice of America, and why they are able to lie and lie and lie and lie, and why the world is finally beginning to see that there is something wrong with the superpower of today, you must first understand the reason behind the Iran and especially the Iraq war. Because the reason why he mentioned Iraq as one of the part of the axis of evil was so that he can then galvanize his troops to then go to Iraq and kill Saddam and dismantle the whole Iraqi government, right? So the reason behind the Iraq war after 9/11. Play this video, please. And I gave you a timestamp, right? Okay, so play this video, please. The real reason behind the Iraq war.
They called themselves neo-Reaganites, but were willing to answer to neoconservatives
Edomites.
or hawks. Paul Wolfowitz was generally considered the brains of the outfit.
Paul Wolfowitz believed then that it was a mistake to end the war as we did under the circumstances that we did. They underestimated the way in which Saddam was able to cling to power and the means he would use to remain in power. That was the mistake.
One of the most controversial assertions made in The Israel Lobby and Foreign Policy by John Mersheimer and Stephen Walt is that members of the lobby played a principal and necessary role in the plan to invade Iraq in 2003. Without them, they argue, the invasion would not have happened. As Stephen Walt wrote years after the book was published in Foreign Affairs, even some readers who were generally sympathetic to our overall position found that claim hard to accept. And some left-wing critics accused us of letting Bush and Cheney off the hook or of ignoring the importance of other interests, especially oil. Rather than oil, the pair contend, it was a powerful group within the Israel lobby, the driving force of America's hawkish interventionism and proponents of spreading democracy by the barrel of the gun. Or here's a less graceful description from prominent neoconservative Michael Ledeen of the American Enterprise Institute.
Edomite.
Every 10 years or so, the United States needs to pick up a small, crappy little country and throw it against the wall, just to show we mean business. Ledeen was at one time a consultant to the U.S. National Security Council. Norman Finkelstein, a key critic of Israel today, as they carry out a genocide in the Gaza Strip, was, at the time of the book's publishing, openly at odds with Mersheimer and Walt over this very issue.
The argument that Steve Walt and I make in our book is that the Israel lobby, again, mainly the neoconservatives, were the principal driving force in the United States behind the war in Iraq. Now, we argue that the lobby by itself, or the neoconservatives by themselves, couldn't make the war happen. They definitely needed President Bush and Vice President Cheney to be on board. And
we're building bricks now. So basically, you are seeing another part of the story where these professors, who are Americans themselves, come up with different conclusions, saying that, no, it is not simply so that the US propped up or tried to make Iraq to be an evil nation so that they can go there, dismantle Iraq, put in a president that is a puppet or create civil war so that they could take the oil. That was one part of the argument, but there was another layer behind it. And what these professors are saying is that there is a lobby in the United States called AIPAC, and this lobby has one objective, and that objective is to make sure that within the whole of the Middle East, that there should be no power or nation military as strong and as stable as Israel. And in order for Israel to remain the dominant force in the Middle East, Israel then has lobbies established in the US. And it is through these lobbies that, one, they basically decide who becomes a president in the US because of their money that they have. Two, if you want to become a president in the US, you must comply to the AIPAC lobby. And it is through these puppets that they put in place, amongst whom is Bush. That is why in his speech, he mentioned Iraq as the acts of evil, whilst Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11. They went there and they destroyed and destabilized Iraq. Why? It was due to the prompting of the Israel lobby, so that Iraq would be destabilized. Because if Iraq is destabilized, that simply means one less army one less enemy for Israel to contend with. So that was the real reason behind the Iraq war. Now listen at what the short explanation of what APEC is, and then we will continue. So what is APEC? What is this lobby that the professor is talking about that basically governs America behind the scenes?
It's the woman. Apex is the woman that the Bible is talking about, the whore.
For the Israel nation is because of this lobby. And what is so sad is everything that the non-Western world does is always considered bad. But when the Western world does it, they sanitize it and it becomes beautiful. Because the word lobbying simply means corruption. It means bribing. When you are lobbying, you are paying someone to do your bidding. If an African company man gives a president money and says, pass a law for me, the Western world will shout and say that is a corrupt regime. That's what they will say. But when there is a lobby in the West that is giving the candidates that they support money to enact laws that will favor them, all of a sudden it's legal because it's lobbying. So when a Western world or white person does it, it's lobbying. It sounds so clean, I'm lobbying. But when a black person does it, all of a sudden the word lobbying becomes bribe, which makes you a criminal. It's just like the West. When an African president rises, they call him a terrorist. They call him a dictator. When a white person does it, they call him a hero. Because all of the European heroes are nothing but murderers. But to the Europeans, they call them their folk heroes. So you see how it is not fair the way the West deals with the rest of the world. That's why the people slowly but surely are being fed up. But we are continuing. Now, continuing with the whole propaganda of the USA and why they must be destroyed before we can get to Armageddon, and why this is part of the Armageddon. After their whole speech, the Bush speech in 2001, they left Saudi Arabia alone, went to Iraq, toppled Iraq, and then a few years later, or a time later on, the Arab Spring that came along. And the Arab Spring, as I told you, you have to look at the United States and Israel in understanding how the Armageddon will play out. So when the Arab Spring eventually was initiated, all the Arab nations were in an upheaval, right?
Yeah, so we're gonna pick up on the rest of this tomorrow. But I got a question. Anybody know what the Arab Spring is?
No, sir.
No, sir. No.
We talked about it. I talked about it in a couple of videos. So back in, I think it was around. Remember when Gaddafi got killed?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So it was riots, civil war, went all the way through the Middle East, and all them people was rioting all over all the countries in the Middle East. He toppled all those countries.
Well, that was in the 2010
It was
when it
somewhere
was
in there, yeah.
protesting. Yes, sir.
The Arab Spring. So that's harps. You know what harps is, right?
Yes, sir.
So it's got different characteristics from the harps. They can send a beam or frequency down to a certain area, first of all, they got to get the people riled up first. Then they can send a frequency there, and everybody just go haywire.
Right.
So this is what he's gonna say. We're gonna close out on this, but so that's what caused the Arab Spring, all because of they trying to destabilize that whole area. They don't want nobody around the Israel that's more powerful than Israel. They're trying to make everything docile around the land of Israel. None of this shit ain't in the Bible. That's what I'm telling you about. It's two different end times. So this ain't in Daniel. None of them ain't talking about this. So they Harps got the ability to enhance the hurricanes, got the ability to start an earthquake, but this is another characteristic they have nobody don't know shit about. So they can cause, chaos. So, like I said before, what they keep on saying getting ready to come in America, civil war. They're gonna use harps. Gonna be part of it. I'm just putting this in there. This like this some icing on the cake. So this they're already stirring it up now with all this bullshit that's going on with Kamala Harris, Trump, all that. People are already at odds with each other. Anger already there. That harps enhance it when they beam it down. Okay. So anyway.
Shalom, may I add that when they did the testing of the phones, for when you were saying about the frequencies and the hertz, so when they did all the testing of the phones, and the phones, some of them worked, some of them didn't. That's part of the harps. So when everyone's all amped up, like you say, to protesting and getting them all riled up, then the phones will go off, and then maybe that is part of the thing that they're trying to make happen when everything comes to a head.
The populace don't believe these things exist. Like the average person, they'll say, "Can't nobody control the rain. Can't nobody control no hurricane, all that." But that's somebody that's lacking. And then this is before. Now we got AI. AI that came on the scene. This was before AI. So they got all these characteristics. Like I said, what we see happening in Jerusalem now, that's harps. They saying Jesus, they seeing angels in the sky over Jerusalem, all that's harps. They create their own end time. Okay? So anyway.
Right? And if you then look at which of the Arab nations during the Arab Spring took the most damage, you will see nations like
watch this.
Libya, you will see nations like Syria, and you will see nations like Yemen. Now, what do you think all of these nations have in common? And you also see Egypt, but that one was, let's just focus on Libya, Syria, and Yemen. What do you think all of these nations have in common? First of all, when the Arab Spring took place, it was especially around this time that Egypt was also going through a upheaval, because that is when they killed the president that was reigning at that time, and they placed one of their own puppets. And you know what happened with Libya. Many of you know. What did they do? They dismantled Libya and they killed who? Gaddafi. Why? Because Gaddafi was an independent thinker, and he was doing everything to lose the grip of the US from his country. What do you think happened to Syria? Syria has close ties with Iran. So they also had to come and topple them and cripple them. What do you think happened to Yemen? Yemen also close ties with Iran. So they toppled them. And when they toppled all of these nations during the Arab Spring, which was nothing but a CIA instigation, all of the Arab countries that could be a threat to Israel and therefore in proxy to the US were now calm, because they made sure that all of the nations that were free thinkers, that were not westernized in their mindset, that had an independent thought, they made sure that they crippled all of these nations. And the ones that they left were the ones that were friends with them. So then, let's then focus and switch to this nation of Iran, which is the second part of the acts of evil. So one question from the audience. Yes.
Yeah. So from my understanding, so the Arab Spring, I believe it was a series of revolutions, a series of protests
in the Arab countries
that were instigated by the CIA.
Yes.
In the countries that posed a threat to the U.S. So the U.S. instigated protests in the countries that they see or that they deemed as threats to their power in that region.
Not only to the U.S., but also to Israel.
To Israel.
Yes. To the countries that pose a...
So I want to add something to that. So like I said, when you understand this right here, then look at this, look at the scene in America. The prophecy being taken place, all these Israelite people waking up. You think they don't have no plan for that? If they did that over there, they got a plan over here. They're gonna bring chaos because of they see what's happening. They see they losing control. Most of these like we waking up like just like the scriptures that said. So they got a plan over here. That's what the Most High meant by if he don't show up, you have to cut it off because they got a plan, just like they did right here. You know how many people died in that Arab Spring? They don't give a damn. Okay.
Threat to the U.S. and to Israel. Because Israel wants to be the only country in the Middle East that has power. That's why you also see that in all of the Middle East, no country has weapons of mass destruction, but Israel does. Iran is getting close to it, but they don't have it yet. But Israel does. And Israel, if you listen to interviews of Norman Finkelstein, they have this strategy that every once in a while, they must destabilize all the countries around them so that those countries will not grow in military might to the level of Israel. And usually what they do is they don't deploy direct assaults. They will always use the US. They will always use the US. So through the CIA involvement, the US orchestrated this Arab Spring upheaval, destabilizing Egypt, putting a puppet in place, destabilizing Yemen, destabilizing Syria, and destabilizing Libya. All of whom were either independent thinkers or they were in opposition to Israel or at least in league with Iran. Because Iran is the second part of the axis of evil. Now, if you then look at this Iran, for example, which is in the middle, and you begin to look at all the countries which are around it, everywhere you see a flag, that is where the US bases are found. Now, can you imagine you being Iran? And everywhere you turn, almost every surrounding nation, the USA has a military base. So if it was you, would you not feel threatened at all? And what is very interesting to note is, what reason does the USA have to treat Iran with such animosity? What has Iran done? Just go to history. What has Iran done to the US? But at the same time, if there is someone who has a reason to dislike Iran, what nation would it be? Israel.
Right. So like I was saying, I'm gonna close it out right there. We'll pick the rest of it up tomorrow. So, like he said right here, Israel the one got the problem with Iran, not America. So why is America over there? Because Israel is the harlot. Israel the one controlling America. America ain't threatened by Iran. Israel is. So who brought Israel? Who brought America over there? When it comes to Saddam Hussein, Israel.
Israel did, yes, sir.
So like I said before, right there, that's where everybody throw it off at. Israel is the damn harlot. America ain't the whore. America is the beast that the whole riding on. Okay, and you can trace it. You can trace it all the way back, like I said, all the way back to the America's beginning, the 13 colonies. These Jews, these so-called Jews, already here. Because that's what George Washington when he and got his money from when the revolution started, his army started fading off, and they needed supplies and they needed money. They went to the Jews that was already here. That's in Boston, Massachusetts, and all up there, still there today. That's who's controlling America. Those who say they are Jews and are not, but the synagogue of Satan. That's who controlling America. Got dual citizenship. Okay. Any comments? And we'll close this out tomorrow. We'll use tomorrow to finish it because I want to deal with the end of this video because it was impactful to me. Yeah. Anybody got anything before we go?
That this is very good. I'm glad we're connecting the dots, and I'm interested in continuing to hear what he has to say if he has more videos.
Okay, so
shalom, everyone. Brother Leonard, I just want to say, watching this video, right, and going back and really doing some research on Israel and how far this really go back. So, I was just looking at 1948, right? But it started way before then. And I think it said something like 1917, right? When, yes, sir, when they really started working on this thing with saying that, they deserve to be back in their, in their homeland, right? Which it was never their homeland. But that started way back in 1917.
Right. And then 1912, like I said, that's when they took control of the Federal Reserve. Google that, Jekyll Island.
Georgia.
Yeah, Jekyll Island. So they stole. That's how Lincoln got killed. They trying to them Edomites. They was trying to get control of the money. Lincoln wasn't going for it. That's how he got killed. That's what happened with JFK. It's all about these Jews. And so they, like I was saying, it's not America ain't the woman, ain't the harlot. They are. So what they do, they got the military. America is the military arm of their power. London is a financial part of it, and Rome is the religious part of it. So they fulfilled the whole thing when they came back to the land in 1948, like they told Lord of Hosts in Malachi, we're gonna come back. We coming back. So they all from that time until they pop up in 1948, they was working on it, and they came back.
Sir. Yes, sir. Like you said, they run in the U.S.
Oh yeah, they run. They controlling America. America ain't controlling them. So and like I said, all the people that's involved in it is pretty much Edomites. They changed their names and all that. But like the guy Finkelstein, what the hell you think he is?
Right. Yeah.
Come on. But a lot of them is like Netanyahu. He got one of the more Jewish names, but they changed them. They changed their names, so they're not to be identified. They hide behind the scene, and that's what's going on. And when you don't understand that part of it, like I said, go back to Alexandria, Egypt. They the ones concocted, the Septuagint, and they concocted Septuagint in order for them to better read the scriptures and decipher them. That's how you get the New Testament. That's why JC is dying and rising Savior, just like Horus was. Because they're using the Old Testament and they're using the Egyptian Book of the Dead. That's how you get JC. But you got to knock these Negroes in the head for them to get that. They still trying to decipher scriptures, but they ain't, you know what I'm saying? They don't have all the pieces to the puzzle. Okay? So everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna shut it down right there. My other laptop ain't acting right, so we're gonna call it right here. I'm gonna say shalom, shalom, another shalom, and we're gonna just pick up tomorrow with the rest of this. Like I said, there's some stuff in the end of that I wanted to deal with because it's tied to a couple of videos that I had made a while back dealing with Echo Atlantis and us going back to Africa, returning back to. He says that in Jeremiah, he's going to return us back to the place in which we was carried away from. So we was carried away from the west coast of Africa, right? So, but when during the time of Jeremiah, the Israelites was carried away from Jerusalem. So they were taken back where they was carried from Jerusalem. We wasn't brought here from Jerusalem. We was brought here from the west coast of Africa. That's why we going back there. Okay. So with that being said, I say shalom, shalom, and another shalom.
Shalom.